Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Micheal Baldani, and I am the product marketing manager at Sumo Logic. And today we'll be talking about our solution around software delivery optimization. We'll start with 5 or 6 minutes of slides just to get a foundation, some context, and then I'll jump into a demonstration of our product. And then we can end with any questions. There's also a Q&A section on the Zoom call, so feel free to enter any questions that you have into that Q&A section. So when you look at software delivery today, it's really interesting, right? Every company today is a software company in a sense. Every company in some way, shape, or form, whether you're creating actual software or widgets or anything, it really is coming down to how software is either helping internal employees be more productive, or your organization actually creating and delivering software out to customers so that they can do their work, play games, transact, etc. But software today is at the foundation of most companies being successful today. And we know that there are some core challenges just around software delivery, right? And they revolve around 4 key things: security, quality, velocity, and collaboration. From a security standpoint, you want to make sure that the code that is being created in your pipelines, but also when the code goes out and deployed out into production, is secure. You don't want to leave buckets open. You don't want to leave any vulnerabilities in your code that could potentially be hacked. The second thing is quality, right? A lot of companies today, you're moving fast. You're trying to get features out to customers who are wanting them. And sometimes quality takes a back seat. Sometimes testing gets missed or skipped, right? You want to make sure that not only are you delivering quickly, but you want to be delivering a quality code into your application so that when it is in your customer's hands, it doesn't all of a sudden break when they start using it. And then from a velocity standpoint, again, customers today are always looking for the new features to make their job or do what they're doing easier, more efficient, a little more fun, etc. And features are the way to do that. So companies today have adopted DevOps, right? They've adopted CI and CD, and they are and agile, and they're continuously improving software once it's out into the market with new features. The problem is, within your software delivery process, there are bottlenecks and blockages, right? So you need to find a way to look into your process, try to figure out where things can be automated so that you're more efficient in getting your software developed, but you're also continuously optimizing your process, right? Where are manual handoffs that can be automated? Where are merge requests sitting for too long of a period that you need to address? Having that visibility to do that is really important. And then lastly, collaboration. When you look at today, especially with the pandemic, right? Teams are working remotely all over the world. That's not going to change anytime soon, right? People have gotten used to working remote, that flex time, and it's here to stay. The problem is, it just makes it a little harder for those teams to collaborate, right? These teams are working on smaller projects together. They are working in their own set of tools with its own set of data. So it becomes hard for teams to collaborate, and they need to work closer together, particularly around development, ops, security, etc., so that you're all working towards the same goals of not only getting particular application out to your customers, but making sure you're doing it the right way. You're aligned with business goals, and you're making an impact for the not only the customer and the user experience, but also the business itself. And we know that teams that deliver software well are successful, and the companies that have those dev teams that are delivering software well are successful as well. And here in front of us are 4 metrics, right? These are the door metrics. And these metrics have been around for about 5 or 6 years, right? They came from the group of folks on the DevOps Institute, and they've been putting together their annual report called the DevOps Assessment Report, which has been which is a survey of different types of companies, different sizes, on how well they are delivering software. And they measured it across 4 key items. Those 4 key items get split into 2 buckets. Across the top is velocity, right? So high performers today are delivering 973 times, right? They're delivering code 973 times more faster than anyone else. Their lead time is 6,500 times faster, right, than the high performers or the medium performers. That's the velocity part, that's the speed. But again, what I mentioned before is velocity is one thing, quality is another. You want to make sure that even though you're running really fast, you're also delivering quality software that isn't going to break as soon as it's in your customer's hands. So high performing teams are actually doing really well, right? They are 3 times lower or 3 times lower as in a chance of breaking anything once they deploy a change. But they're also really fast at recovering from incidents. So if any issues pop up, they're usually taken care of before the user ever finds out or is ever impacted. So again, I want to stress here though, right? This is an aggregate of numbers from different companies, and this is the elite performers numbers as it relates to how they're delivering software. What I want to stress here is the door metrics are really just a good baseline to start from. Get a benchmark using these 4 metrics and then track your teams over time to see if you're improving or not. And if you're not improving, find out why, right? Where are those bottlenecks? Where are those blockages? Where's the gaps in knowledge that could be slowing you down or causing things to break too much? But at the very least, start looking at these 4 metrics, figure out what they are as a baseline, and then figure out what's right for you, your team, and your organization. All right. Now, I've talked to a lot of DevOps managers and development team managers, and look, software development is hard, right? We know that. There's different teams, there's different stages, and there's a bunch of tools. Even in one single organization, there's hundreds of tools in the tool chain, and they're being used by the different teams in that group. The problem is getting visibility into software process is really hard because of that, right? We know those teams are working together, individual teams are working together, and they're probably delivering slightly different than other teams in the organization. We know that they're using their own tools, and it may not be the same tools across the organization. And that means that your data, your information is fragmented, right? And there's a lot of silos going on. And because of that, because there's no common area or common data or visibility, it's really hard for the different teams to work together closely and collaborate, right? So not having that visibility just inhibits your productivity. It inhibits not only how you're delivering software, but you lose the fact of being able to track how well or not you're doing, and then how can you improve the process, right? And I've talked to companies where they tried to develop a tool around that, but it's really hard. Again, getting that data. So finding the data, first of all, finding the right data, pulling it all together, correlating it, normalizing it, and then making sense of it is just difficult. And then once you get it all together, you still have to maintain it. And then you bring in or add another tool on top and everything breaks. So it's just hard, and it takes time and effort, which could be spent doing other things for the business or simply developing software. So here at Sumo Logic, we can actually help with this, right? We have this continuous intelligence platform, and we can ingest data from the different tools in the tool chain. We can collect that data, normalize it, correlate it, and most importantly, democratize it, right? So that it's accessible to everybody, and present that information into analytics and metrics and insights so that you know how a single team is doing and all the teams are doing compared to each other. You'll understand if you're actually delivering faster, better software faster. And you'll also have visibility into the reliability and availability of that application and that code. And then lastly, because that team is the data is accessible to everybody, you're actually fostering greater team collaboration so that you're all working towards common goals. All right, so with the slides over, let me jump into the product. Sorry about this. Okay. All right, so let's get started. So within the software development optimization solution in Sumo Logic, there's two main areas. First of all, is the DORA metrics overview, which you just see here, and this is your main dashboard. This is essentially the DORA metrics. You can see what the deployment frequency is per week, your lead time for changes in hours that are averaged over time. You can see your change failure rate and your time to restore. Now, you can change your date. So this is just set up for 14 days. You could set it up to a number of different days up here. And then you can also start looking at where my anomalies are falling in. So where the pink or orange triangles are showing up, that might be an anomaly. You can click on the triangle and actually get access to your logs to see where any issues are or what's causing the issue here. On your lead time for changes, again, this is an average of in hours over the 14 days, but you can actually see each day what's going on in your lead time, and the overall trend actually is going up. So there's a whole thing there that someone should be investigating on why the lead time is trending so high. On your change failure rate, again, you can see overall what the percentage is, your change failure rate percentage over the last 14 days. And again, look at averages over time, and then also check out any anomalies. And then your average time to restore, this is just under 30 minutes, which is great. And again, you can kind of trend it over time, but again, see what the anomaly is here, what it is. Sorry about that. And then access to your logs and what's to just do some deeper investigation. From a pipeline perspective, we give some good insights into your pipelines themselves, right? And it's funny, right? You know, I've talked to a lot of folks and they say, great, the DORA metrics are great. They give me a kind of a bird's eye view of what's going on, but I need to go deeper. I need to go into my pipelines. I need to find out where things might be getting hung up in the pipelines, what pipeline it is, what team it's assigned to, or who's building it. Because it's those, when teams are working on smaller parts of an application, all it takes is one or two things to get hung up and it holds up the entire application, which delays everything else, right? So within our pipeline overview, again, you get a good view into what's happening to your different pipelines. So you can see your different services, you can see your top 10 critical alerts for those services. You can see your deploys, what deploys were successful versus failed. The last 10 deployed, you can actually go in and into your Git and see the commit of where it happened. Then you can get into your builds and see what your build status is, right? Which ones failed, which ones were aborted, unstable, and successful. You'll get a list of your last 10 failed builds, and then you can go right into the build itself and find out what's going on there. Same thing with your PRs, right? You can see how many were created, how many were merged. And then the time to close for those PRs. And then issues, you can see, what issues are left to do, which were done, and which ones were complete. If there's any critical issues, you can actually go in and check it out. And then lastly, your issue trend. A lot of these are help desk tickets, right? And that's fine. But again, you can do a deeper dive into each ticket if you want to, into Jira or CircleCI or whatever your ticket system is. Sorry, not CircleCI. And do a deeper dive, get the ticket information, who's assigned to it, and see what's going on there. Great. So let's do a deeper dive into the door metrics, first of all. So I'll focus on velocity first. So within velocity, and this takes just a bit to load, but again, within, you can see your deployment frequency that you're doing. We're doing 1,800 events a week over the 14 days. And then you can see what the breakout is of those deploys by the repos, right? And which repos were deployed. You can also get comparisons about the count to the repos and which team or which environment's falling under, what was successful and what failed and why. You can see your deployments over time. And then you can also see your successful deployments versus your failed deployments. And you can see how they correlate mostly to the deployments over time as well. On your lead time, you'll notice, first of all, we have some elite definitions here: elite, high, medium, and low. And you'll see that when you look at your average lead time, your median lead time, and your maximum lead time, that they're colored and they match your colors up above. So this gives you an idea. And again, you can define whatever is elite, high, medium, or low to you, your teams, your organization. This is how we've defined it just in the demonstration. But you can also see your lead time by team, right? If someone has longer lead times than others, you might want to, dig in a little bit, and see what's going on. Were people out that for a week? Is there a knowledge gap that has to be closed there? Are there new members that may have started, so they're taking some time to come up to speed, et cetera, right? And then, when you look at your DevOps team at 25 versus 92, maybe they're doing something really right or really correct. And is it something that you can learn from that team and then disseminate that across all the teams? So they're doing it. And then you can also see your median lead time by service, and then your pipeline durations. Interestingly enough, too, when it comes to repos, right? And again, PRs that are waiting to be merged, can delay things. So you want to look at repos with the slow lead time. And if there's anything that seems out of whack to you and across the different repos, then it's something that tells you to take action. And then you can actually see your daily average lead time. And they tend to correlate. All right. So that's the velocity side of things. Let's do the quality side of things. So time to restore. So within time to restore service, or MTTR is a way I used to call it. Again, we're looking at, here's your overall average from your original overview dashboard. You're actually trending a little down, which is great. And then the top services that had P1 incidents, the number of incidents, and then by service name. And you can actually click on each of these and isolate if you wanted to. And then let's get into change failure rate. So on your change failure rate, this is the percentage of times that your deployment breaks, or you have to deploy a change because of a break. right? And you're actually doing pretty well. We're actually doing pretty well at 8.44% over the last 14 days. Again, you can see the top services that had incidents, the number of incidents, and then you can actually compare, right, over the week, right, between the different services today and 7 days ago. And if there's either even or there's a change, and then you can actually trend it over time. So the fact that it's going back up, actually we've gone down over the last day or so, which is great, but I'd be looking at why did things go up over the last 5 days, 4 days. So that is SDO at a very high level in the time that we have. I want to thank everyone for their time. If there's any questions, please feel free to enter them into the Q&A section on the Zoom call. Happy to answer any questions. All right, I'm not seeing any questions in the Q&A section. So again, thanks you everyone for your time today. If you have any questions later on, please feel free to reach out to me at Sumo Logic. My email is mbaldani@sumologic.com. Happy to answer those questions. And again, thanks for your time. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you.